Swinging from street lights, I wish we could go back to when we went singing in the rain.
You are listening to Singing in the Rain, a podcast series that interviews artists, educators, and innovators who are focused on positive social change in difficult times. Singing in the Rain is a production brought to you by Claremont Lincoln University, CLU Live. On this episode of Singing in the Rain, we take you to a crowded Beverly Hills hotel in a packed lobby, where we caught up with an artist who's changing the world through the message of peace and love. Greetings, everyone. It's Dr. David Carter with Claremont Lincoln University, and I have with me in the quote-unquote studio today here in Beverly Hills, country music star Imaj, also humanist, celebrity / social changer, change maker, an amazing person. Thanks for joining me today.
You
so
flatter
glad to
me.
have you here.
He flatters me.
Yeah, well, you know, that's part of the job here. That's part of the job. So I'm so glad that you joined us. As you know, our school focuses on positive social change, mindfulness, dialogue, collaboration, and change. And so when we read about you, obviously we heard your music, we thought, this is an amazing person. We have to talk to them and hear about what they do and hear a little bit more about the backdrop behind your music. So just tell me, I mean, who is Imaj?
So Imaj is, as you so eloquently said, humanist, country singer, songwriter. I've always loved songwriting. I'm a human being who wants freedom for all of us, all human beings, freedom from conflict.
Okay.
Of which we are hopelessly slavish to, conflict, and just peace, world peace. So Imaj is someone who wants world peace.
And so where did that come from? Was that something that was natural for you, or did that come out of some experience that you had, or did you just come out of the womb singing and you said, hey, I'm just going to be, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, that was me right out the womb.
Was it? Okay. All right.
No.
It works.
I just noticed, I think a lot of kids kind of notice different things about life, and I think when you're really little, because everything is so fresh, you see things from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I always notice is that we, as a human race, we're constantly I saw the beauty in the human race and the beauty on earth and everything like that, but I also saw that we had our downfalls. We were constantly fighting in some way or another, and I never understood why we couldn't just all get along. Mm-hmm. Kind of like, people talk about utopia, heaven.
Sure.
And so, I don't know, maybe it comes from that. Mm-hmm. And then the other aspect is my parents have always been, philanthropists, and they've always given back, which really is giving to yourself, because we don't live in a void. Right? We don't live in a vacuum.
Of course not.
And so it comes from a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. So
well, it comes out beautifully in your music, and I don't want to shock you at all, but you don't fit the typical country music star profile as it relates to not really your background, but maybe a little bit.
Okay.
So was country music something natural that came to you, or did you just gravitate toward that at some point in your life? So why country music?
So country music, my mom grew up listening to country music. Okay. Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, that sort of thing. And when my mom was little, my grandma would say, let her listen to country music, and my aunt would be like, turn that crap off, And so that's probably where it filtered in from. I feel like we get a lot of different things from our parents. That's one thing that I gravitated towards was country music.
Yes.
And the idea that it tells a story and it takes you through the whole beginning, middle, and end. Mm-hmm. Traditional country
right.
music.
Can be a bit sad at times, right? But
yeah.
A little bit of heartache.
Yeah. And, Johnny Cash.
That's right.
Hank Williams. Yes. Hank Williams Sr., Dolly Parton, of course.
It's beautiful music, though. It's eloquent. It's poetry, right?
It's poetry.
It's poetry. And speaking of poetry, from a visual sense, how I first came about hearing about you, I saw a video that millions of people saw online, and it's titled Colorblind.
Oh, Colorblind, yeah.
And so with that video, there's a transformation that's taking place in that video that's beautiful, but the message behind that actual song is amazing. So where did that inspiration come from? Tell me about Colorblind.
Yeah, Colorblind was initially written by a gentleman named Ron Grimes.
Okay.
And then I helped co-write it with Jennifer Lynn from The Voice of Holland.
Okay.
And let me go back to Ron Grimes. Ron Grimes is known for his work with Leanne Rimes. Multi-platinum songwriter, dear friend, hilarious, can write anything,
Yes.
you know. And also super into peace and love, too. We used to call each other hippie hillbillies.
Okay, I
we were-
like it. Hippie hillbillies. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here. Okay.
That was our little thing, Ron and I. We were hippie hillbillies because we were writing country music, but it was all about peace and love.
Right.
So we got into the studio together and we finished the song. And when it came to the music video, that was a very interesting process. We thought we were going to get it done in one day.
Right.
But of course, I had 11 different characters, 11 different, special effects and makeup and everything.
Right.
So it didn't happen in one day.
Right.
It took 2 days.
It took 2 days to do it.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful video, though.
Thank you.
And so you're not only in this video and you have a powerful song behind it, but you have the image and 11 images that
Yeah.
really share and tell the story. I just thought it was so amazing, and I know
Thank
that's
you.
something that our students have been interested in, and that impacted our faculty and staff and everyone else. So thank you for that.
Awesome.
Let's go back to peace and love, though.
Sure.
Okay, so why is that important today? Why do we need peace and love? That's a part of your music, and obviously that's what you're sharing through this medium. But tell me about peace and love.
So peace and love, I think, is at the core of all of us.
Okay.
I think it's important because that's kind of what is the fuel to our engine as human beings.
Yes.
Peace is something we all strive for, whether we know it or not, and whether we're going about it in the right way or not. It's something that we really strive for. So it's fundamental to life, I think, is to be able to live peacefully
Yes.
and to be free to do what we want to do.
And is music one of the better ways to share that, to spread that?
Of course.
To move that through, because it touches everyone, right? It touches everyone.
The
of
universal
course.
language, of course.
Universal language.
Yeah,
definitely.
it blankets everyone from all different ethnicities. I was going to say races, but we're a human race.
We're
but
the human
all
race.
Right. All different ethnicities, political backgrounds, opinions.
Yeah.
It's just something that hugs everyone.
Sure. Now, I don't want to shock you because you mentioned the word race, but as I see it, or others would see it, maybe they attach a label there. You are a beautiful black woman, quote unquote label black
Okay.
woman,
Thank you.
singing country music. That breaks down a stereotype.
Yeah.
Why is it important to break down stereotypes and all of these cultural biases that we have today? Because you're doing that also with your music. Why would you
Right.
say that's important?
Because it's not real. Stereotypes are false. They're illusions. We made them up. They're social constructs, if
Yes.
you will. And so we have to break them down because otherwise we wouldn't be able to have a conversation.
Wonderful.
We wouldn't be able to work towards living peacefully.
And have you found success in that with your music? That it's helping to illuminate all of those biases that are out there and those
Yeah.
stereotypes? I mean, I just can't imagine what it's like for you to come out on stage and maybe if someone didn't know who you were and they heard there was a country music show going on, when you
Right.
step out on stage, it's kind of like, oh, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe not.
No,
Maybe-
no, you hit the spot. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. When people first see me, they think, oh, maybe she sings pop music, like a pop singer, like a Rihanna type.
Right.
So, yeah, country music just comes really natural to me. The way it's sung, the vocal ups and downs, little twists and turns. For some reason, that's something that's just always come naturally.
Did it ever bother you that there is that stereotype of a country singer and that you don't necessarily fit within that stereotype, that you are your own person doing your own music? Was that ever something you felt you needed to conform to? Obviously
Never.
not, with how you're doing it. Yeah.
I would never conform to anything. But it's interesting because it's like the older generation, I think, is really they're the ones who are really holding on to having to have a certain look and a certain feel and a certain everything.
Yes.
But I feel like the younger generation is really
They're open to
open to everything.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that's a wonderful thing. Actually, Casey Musgraves has a song. Casey Musgraves is one of my favorite modern country singer-songwriters.
Yes. Wonderful artist.
Yes, I love her. Don't you love her? And she has a song called Good Old Boys Club.
Okay.
She doesn't want to be a part of the Good Old Boys Club.
Right.
And that's exactly what's still kind of around in country music, kind of in the back puppeteering.
Right.
But it's being slowly, the light of the new generation is breaking that shadow.
Yeah, and that's you. And that's you. You're the new generation breaking that shadow, right?
There you go.
Coming
Thank
in.
you.
That's wonderful. So part of our mission at Claremont Lincoln University is to engage in positive social change.
Yes.
I mentioned humanist earlier and also social entrepreneur in what you do. Why is it important to engage in positive social change today? What would you say to students who want to get involved in that space, or not even millennials, anyone who wants to get involved in that space?
I would say go for it. I think everyone has something that they're passionate about doing, and I think if they can take something they're passionate about and make a difference in the world in some positive way, I think that's exactly on point with life and what we're here for and what the future is going towards. And I feel like one day we're just going to be able to live in a way that's peaceful and not necessarily have to break the mold and work so hard and all this other stuff. I mean, we'll still work hard towards our passions, but things will be more loving.
More loving. Yeah. So how do we do that, though? And I'll ask you this, as I know your time is precious, so I don't want to hold you up, but how do we bring more unity, hope, and love into the world? You're doing that through music, but are there other ways that we can help with the difficult times that we live in right now, and bringing that home, sharing that message? Are there tangible ways that you would encourage our students to bring more unity, hope, and love into the world today? Sure.
Just, it's like Mother Teresa said, do small things with great love.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right? And that's all there is to it. Yeah. Just to be kind to people. You never know what people are going through.
Right.
I mean, that's like a cliche, but it's true. You never know what people are going through. Just hold a door. Maybe smile at someone, get into a conversation with someone you may not have actually spoken to otherwise. Laugh, have a good time. It really just, it fills you with happiness, and it makes you want to make someone else happy. Traveling all over the world, we meet such wonderful people.
Yes.
And just having those tiny moments with just random people, it makes you happy and makes you want to do something good.
Yeah.
So just little things with great love.
You make me want to do something good. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do after this.
Okay.
I'm really inspired. Is there anything else you'd like to say to our students, to the fans who support you? And certainly I'm a fan and I support you.
Thank you.
Anything that you'd like to say as it relates to your music or just what you're doing in this space at all?
Just keep following your dreams. That's so cliche.
No, but I love it, right? Don't give up. Don't give up.
Follow your dreams. Find time for mindfulness.
Oh.
I love
part of our core.
Yes, I love that core of mindfulness. I'll say it again.
Yes.
When you start with just trying to understand yourself at it's a deep level, but it's just such a simple level, and then you can go into that dialogue.
Yes.
Just finding that time, even outside of the course, for students, to find that time for mindfulness, and people who aren't in the course, find that time to just sit in meditation and to look at yourself. And it might be super difficult because, like we spoke about the other day, sometimes it's hard to look at yourself because you find things that you may not be happy about.
Right.
But that it's a wonderful thing because you can cleanse that part of you and be an even greater human being than you already are.
That's wonderful.
So find that time for meditation and then go out into the world.
To take a moment and think.
Yeah.
To pause, to reflect, to think about our fellow human being, right?
Right.
Of course. So I want to touch on the dream space. I heard a preacher say one time that as he was presiding over funerals, the worst thing was not necessarily the death, it was all the dreams that had died with that person that they never fulfilled. So I want to thank you for not only fulfilling your dream and continuing to fulfill your dream, but inspiring others to do the same, especially our students in the times in which we live. Thank you so much for joining us again today, Imaj. It's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Glad to have you, always.
Thank you.
You have been listening to Singing in the Rain, a podcast series that interviews artists, educators, and innovators who are focused on positive social change in difficult times. Singing in the Rain is a production brought to you by Claremont Lincoln University, CLU Live. For more, subscribe, share, and visit us at claremontlincoln.edu.